Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. It's Sam here with another little faffy video where we just mess about with things and make pretty things and aid our mental health. Hope you're all doing okay. I also hope you don't mind these little dappled pieces of sunshine here in my workroom today. I'm saying workroom, it's my conservatory at home here in the northwest of England where I just literally faff with things. Now I don't know if you remember these, a few videos ago I made these cute little braided rings. I mean, I know these have been done, you know, by lots of other people, but you know, I really enjoyed making these and I hope you did too. So I've come up with a bracelet to match. It's not a usual all the way round bangle. It is a half bangle, half bracelet, which I thought sat on my wrist really neatly, really nicely. Yeah, what do you think of those? So let's have a look at how to make these today. So I'm just going to take this copper one off because it clashes with my silver, but this is what it looks like. Yeah, what do you think of that? So you can bend it into shape around your own wrist, which I think looks really pretty. So let's have a look at the ingredients that we need to make one of these today. So I'm going to do another silver one just because I like silver. Well, I like everything really. I like everything. Silver, gold, copper, rose gold, you know. You're going to need everything. I'm such a magpie anyway. So you're going to need some 0.8, that's 20 gauge, copper wire plated with silver if that's your bag. If not, then use whatever you like. I would suggest you use soft, mainly because we're doing some braiding and it's a little bit easier to do in the soft, I would think. You're going to need some beads. Now, what colour beads shall we use today? I'm using 6mm. So should we go for pinks like this one, or shall we go for red? I'm not sure. Let's go for blue. Let's make something icy. So these are just 6mm quartz beads. So let me just put those back. 6mm beads. Dead easy. Really simple, really easy to do. And I think that's almost about it actually. You're going to need to make yourself some chain. I'm using just simple what are these called, Sammy? Jump rings, that's what they're called. I'm just using simple jump rings, which I've made myself out of 1mm copper, silver covered copper wire. Really easy to do. If you want to know how I make mine, I will pop a little video link up here to let you have a look at how I make my little jump rings. So you're gonna need some jump rings and just a basic clasp, which we will go through at the end of the video, because I know I've had some people say that they like me to show how I made the clasps at the end of the video, and I think is that it, apart from your usual tools, cutters and chain nose pliers. I'm going to be using a round nose today just to fashion the ends here, just because it's a little bit easier, and that is about it, my friends. Okay, so I will stop waffling, we'll get faffing, and I'll clear the table away and we'll make one of these pretty bracelets to go with these lovely braided rings. So I'll see you in a few. And we're back. So let's go ahead and make one of these really pretty things. You know, like I say, make them for yourself, make them for gifts, make them to sell, and make yourself lots of money so you can buy a nice big house on the coast and holiday there and drink cocktails all day. Wouldn't that be lovely if that's what you could do, selling this kind of thing? I would be a millionaire by now, but I'm not. Never mind. So let's make something like this. Like I say, you know, you can make this for a gentleman in a little bit more masculine colours perhaps, or you know, like I say, if he likes pink, anything goes these days. So what we want to do is bring in our ruler and bring in our wire. All right, so give your wire a little bit of a stretch out. We're going to want to take approximately 14 to 15 inches, which is about 35 to 40 centimeters, something like that. I'm always conscious of remembering all you guys that use inches. Obviously being European, we tend to use centimeters here, but you know what? I do have a lot of my viewers and subscribers from the States, so I will try my best to remember. And then you want a shorter piece, about 20 centimetres, about 8 inches. All right, so we're just going to cut the shorter piece as well. Get rid of those. Okay, so put your shorter one aside just for now and bring in your longer one. And you want to find the centre of it. Now, whether you choose to do this by eye or whether you choose to do it with a ruler, entirely up to you. Let's see if I can get that. Oh no, not quite. Doesn't matter. Plenty of space. No, I'm going to do that again. I was completely off. Try again. That'll do. So you need to take your round nose pliers like so, and then bend the wire around like that. Take your pliers out, pop your pliers back in. So we're making a double loop in the end, essentially. Come on, camera, focus. It must be the light in here today. It's very strange. Right, so there we have our double loop. Now we want to bring these two in together as best we can, like so. Like this. And then stretch your wires out like this. So we have a double loop at the end. Yeah, can you see the silver coating coming off on my fingers? Never mind. Wire workers and our jewellery makers and a faffer's fingers are always a little bit on the grubby side. So forgive my slightly grubby fingers. They were clean when I started. Right, so here we have our double loop like this. So the next thing we want to do is to bring our shorter piece in and place it over the top of the other two. Just separate these two a little so you can pop that guy inside. So you have three together like this, with this one sticking out by about, I don't know, what's that, 1.5 inches? Just over an inch, something like that. And then come in with a nice flat plier, because you want to be holding about there, all right? Because we're going to be winding this short piece around. So you'll have to bend it to one side, obviously, and then just wind it round a couple of times, like so. Like that. So you kind of have this. I don't know why it's not focusing very well today. It might be the light in here. And then chop off the little excess, get rid of that, and then just come in and tighten this together. It doesn't have to be super tight, just as long as you've got this going on. Okay, if you need to just faff around a little bit, push that back up, that's fine. That's fine. Give it a smush. Ooh, there we are. That's good. Right, so we have our 3 pieces of wire. You want to find this one in the centre and keep it in the centre, like we did with the ring, like so. So this is what we have. Come in with your beads. Now then, beads, where are you? What colour did I decide to use? Blue ones. Let's go for the blue ones. Put out a few. Now, like I said on mine, a 7.5 inch wrist, I take 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 beads. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's got 11. That's okay, 11 or 10. If you want it a little bit further around the wrist, obviously, use 11. So 10 or 11, up to you. So we'll see how it goes. Pop your one bead on the centre, down to the end, and give it a bit of a push. So pop those on like so, yeah. And then pull these wires out of the way just for now, like that. So your bead is pretty much butted up against the end here. Okay, so bottom wire goes over the top of the bead and the wire. Top wire comes underneath everything, the bead and the wire. Squish things into place with those wonderful fingers of yours that make great tools. Just give things a little bit of a pull and make sure things are nice and neat and tidy, like so. Okay, so you now have your first braided bead. Get your next bead on. Pop that on and stretch it right and push it right down to the other bead, like so. Holding with your fingers, you want to take the bottom wire over the top of this wire here, over the central wire, and then the top wire underneath everything. So we have this. Okay, there we are. Next bead on. Pop the bead on, down, and butt it up against this last one here. So now we have this bottom wire which goes over the top of the central wire, like so. And this top wire that was on the top, bring it around the bead and underneath everything. So underneath the wire and underneath the bead. It feels like things are popping out of place. Don't worry about it. Everything works itself out because we're going to be putting an arc on this, and the fact that we put an arc on it means that all the beads slot into place and become more secure. All right, so you'll know what I mean when you do it yourself. Let's put another bead on. Now I'm toying with the idea of just videoing this whilst I put all of the beads on, or I might just put a couple on and then meet you back. I'm not sure. It's whether you get sick of hearing me talking. That's the thing. And the dog snoring as well, so. Okay, bottom wire over the top, wrap it around the bead, like so, around the bead, and then over the middle wire. Take this guy here, around the bead and under everything, like so. And just give things a little bit of a smush up. Can you see what's happening here? So we've got, similarly to how we braided the little ring, but we're doing it with larger beads, that's all, exactly the same. Actually, if you didn't catch the braided ring video, again, I'll pop a little card up here so that you can go back and have a look at that one. Bead on, bring it down. Keep things nice and, sort of tight and neat and tidy. I know you can't see very much because of my big fat fingers, but bottom wire around the bead and over the top, like so. And then this wire, underneath everything. Can you see that? So it comes underneath the central wire. Okay, so I'll just do one more and then I'll meet you back when we've got 10 or 11, might do 11 beads on. So bead on, come on bead, where are you? There you go. There we go, okay. Bottom wire over the top and around the bead, like so. Top wire underneath everything. So we're just encapsulating those beads in a very pretty braid. All right, so I will come back to you in a second by the magic of television when I've put the rest of the beads on, all right? And then we'll go and we'll do the other end. So I'll see you in a few. Right, there you go, magic of television, like I said. We'll put our last bead on. And there we go. Okay, so that's the last bead. And we go bottom over the center. And then the top one underneath, like so. So here we are. I've put 11 beads on this one. All right, so what we want to do now, obviously, is to finish this off. So take this top wire, wind it around, take the bottom wire and wind that around. So you're just literally sealing. I've used that word literally again, honestly. A couple of my subscribers, or I can't remember. Yes, it might be. Anyway, a couple of my viewers were suggesting that I use some words a little too often. Well, you know, I think that's just the nervousness of creating videos. It makes you say things, it makes you repeat things anyway. I am human. So we want to just snip this excess off here and snip this excess off here. And like I say, don't get rid of your squiggly little pieces of wire. You can straighten those and use them for other things, like ear wires actually. Obviously that needs to go because it's too small, but you know, try and conserve your beads. You can try and conserve your wire if you can. So here we have this. So what we want to do now is to replicate this end. So what I do is bend it like so, come in with your pliers, and then wind this wire around. We want to be doing that twice just to replicate the other side. Make a double loop, just makes it stronger. So we have a double loop here. And then what we want to do now is to wrap this around this junction here a couple of times. So wind it around and then wind it around. Not only will it cover those little ends that you've just snipped off, it also makes things nice and secure like that. And then we snip this off. There we go. Having one of those scatty days today, you know, when you have those days where things don't always go to plan, but you just keep going anyway. Yeah, one of those. I call it a scatty day. Right, so here we have our little braided piece. So what I suggest you do now is just use your thumbs and pull everything into sort of an arc. Not so much a semicircle, but an arc shape like so. And then pop it on your wrist and then just bend it into shape so that it fits around your wrist. Obviously, if you're making these to fit other people, just sort of, you know, let them know to just shape it around their wrist when they get it home. So for a loved one or whatever, you know, just shape it, because wire is forgiving, isn't it? Just shape it around the wrist like so. Okay, that's it. So that's that part of it done. So you've got a double loop on either side, and there, that's that. So there's various different types of what's the word, chain that you can use on these. I'm choosing to use just a simple chain made with jump rings. I think these are 3mm. They could be 4 actually, thinking about it. So what you do is make your chain with your little jump rings, which I'll probably do off camera because that's going to be extremely boring to watch. Literally just, there we go, tighten up. I mean, you know, you could use a double silver chain actually if you have some chain that you've bought, which would be quite pretty. I think you could double up 2 strands of silver chain. That would look really pretty. But I quite like, you know, I really like the idea that when you sit down and make something, that the whole thing can be handmade. But it depends on how you are with your jewellery. I'm quite light with my jewellery. I don't tend to wear it, you know, to do chores in or that kind of thing. So that, you know, if you were to catch a chain made like this, it doesn't have the same stability perhaps as a chain that's been soldered. And that's obvious, isn't it? So, you know, the chain is determined by how rough you are with yourself. If you're playing with your dogs or your grandchildren, perhaps don't wear it. That's all I'm saying. But if you want to, just use a different chain. You can use a figure of 8. You could use little sticks. I've got quite a few chain videos on my channel. So, you know, have a look through and see what takes your fancy. But anyway, this is what I'll be doing. So I'm going to come back to you when I've made the chain, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you a very, very simple clasp. All right, brilliant for the beginner, this one. And we're back, my friends. Hopefully you have now got some 2 little portions of chain, obviously 2, 1 for each side. It makes a lot of sense, that, doesn't it? 1 for each side. So all you do is take your little pieces of chain, pop it through on either side, and close up your jump rings. Like I say, you can use whatever chain you like. I genuinely think that some proprietary bought chain, you know, if you double that up, would look really, really pretty on this one, actually. But here we have handmade chain, all right? So all we need to do now is to make a very simple clasp. So I really like the little shepherd's hook clasps. I think they're really sweet and super easy to make. So I'm probably teaching my grandma how to suck eggs here, but where did that saying come from? Does anybody know where that saying comes from? Teaching your grandma to suck eggs. I've no idea where that comes from. It sounds a bit weird to me. My grandma would want to suck eggs, I don't know. Anyway, poor grandma. So I take my little plier here, my little piece of wire, should I say, and then just pop a little bend at the end, like so. Set it again, like so. Oh dear. And then, come on wire, you're not playing with me today, are you? There we go. Like that. And then come in with my bail making plier. Pop your wire against the plier like that, and then round like so. Like so. And then what we want to do is just chop off a little section and then come in and make a loop at the end in the opposite direction, like that. Now I give that a hammer with a nylon hammer just to give it some stability, but I'm going to say that I've done that, even though I'm not going to do that on camera. There's our little hook. So bring in your piece. You can open up your jump ring if you like, it's up to you, and then pop your little handmade clasp on, and there is our beautiful braided, handmade braided bangle bracelet with a little hook fastening, which I'll just do off camera because my eyesight isn't the greatest and I can't see what I'm doing. And there we have it, my friends. Aren't they pretty? Absolutely perfect for pairing with the little braided ring. Beautiful, beautiful. Aren't they pretty? Love, love, love. So you can use all of your 6mm beads that I know you have a million of in your stash, like I do. Very, very pretty. And I hope you enjoy making those. And again, if you do, leave me a little comment down below in the comments section. I really like to hear from you and I love to hear what you've been making. If you're interested, we do have a very, very lovely and private Facebook group where you are more than welcome to come and share your bits and pieces and the results of your faffings on our group. So I'll leave that in the description box as well. So come and join us. It's a friendly group. There's not that many of us, but we like to share what we've been doing. Okay, so I'll see you in my next video. We may very well be making a pair of earrings, but I'm not sure yet. See you soon. Bye.